Lowness.
What makes Thermacare different? 2 words. It heals.
We have like 7 minutes.
Yeah.
I saw you flash up there.
Yeah, I should be coming back up very soon, standing in the middle of an empty pus swamp. Oh, hey Diva, I know you were really interested in the Men in Black Dimension. They got it finished last night.
Oh, cool.
Oh, there's a bit of a delay, isn't there, on Twitch?
Yes.
That's why I usually mute my Twitch volume, so that way I only hear vent, because otherwise the reverb is very distracting.
And it's going to be available to see later on as well, right?
Yes, it'll
Yep.
archive on Twitch, and then I'll upload it to YouTube, probably right as soon as this is done.
Okay, cool.
I like the colors in Pus Swamp. I like the flowers and the grass that are in here. I'm not too sure about the pustules and the brain trees. Fetid Plains has the same kind of color scheme going. The sky is just amazing.
I think it's like way too pink.
It sure is pink.
I don't know, I can handle this pink for some reason a lot better than I can the pink of, say, High Law.
Oh yeah, that one's like bad acid trip or something.
Yeah.
My high-low I did totally as a joke because of the pink.
Well, I think High Law is one of the few keys that I haven't gotten yet from Minions, and I kind of hope I never do get one.
It looks like they are a pretty common minion loot item because I sure see a lot of them for cheap on the auction house.
Yeah. But I'll tell you, I've got like 6 Central Necropolises. So if you want
Wow.
if you want a Central Necropolis key, for God's sakes, don't buy one.
Okay, I won't. I have one anyway. I actually built one of my first dimensions in there, and it's destroyed now, but I still have that key. It's empty.
And I just got another Shoreward Island this morning.
Oh, lucky. That's such a nice one. I like it.
Do you want any? I've got, I think, three keys.
Thank you. I think I have a couple of them, too. People on Wolfsbane still price things crazy sometimes. I've found a couple of them for like, 25 gold and stuff, various dimension keys.
Yeah, I picked up some moonshades for extra cheap, and then wouldn't you know, I got a couple in my minion bags.
Oh well, they're awful gorgeous. They might come in handy.
Yeah, I'm keeping those until I run out of alts to put them on.
Yeah.
And then
My last minion came back with 4 keys.
yeah,
Oh my
4.
gosh.
yeah, on Zaviel last night I got 3 keys. And wouldn't you know, one of them was an Infinity Gate.
Oh boy.
I have got those things coming out my ears now.
It's kind of distracting hearing our conversation delayed.
Yeah, that's why you just mute the Twitch, and then you won't hear anything from the Twitch channel. You'll just hear what we're discussing in Vent.
I still hear it. Ah, I had another window open. Dull.
One thing I've noticed about when we're streaming, if you have other windows open in the background, it gives me problems.
Okay, well it's 11 a.m. server PST. This is Fiendish with the Dimension Touring Company for the DTC Roadshow. I'm here with Dimension Diva and Polynomia at Gelidra. For this week's news, there is actually some news to put out for what looks like 3.1, currently on the PTS being worked on, new dimension permissions. And this is a big deal. There's a special permissions list that you can edit, and also you will be able to have the ability to ban people from coming in your dimension. So when you get when you get those griefers in there, put them on that ban list. So that's a great thing, and I really hope they get it working in time for the patch. And thanks to a teaser post from Gingers on the PTS forum, as well as Jonas at Riftgreat, who actually has a full-length article about changes that are up on the PTS right now. That's all I have for the news piece. What about current contest, Eva?
Well, Grievance had their guild member only contest, and they picked winners. The first place winner was Kaldak with Wild Wild North, which is a great train and kind of a very northern town with a train station and so forth. Oh, and these are all on Wolfsbane. And the second placed prize went to a dimension called Contest Fairy Tale Sets, and it was by, I'm sorry, I'm going to ruin people's names here, Lythande. And then third place went to Jab and Jabby. That dimension is called Contest X303, and it's a model of the Prometheus ship. So all really cool and interesting dimensions to visit. And of course my contest, which is out there on the forums. We've got just a little bit less than a month to go. It's animal morphing, and I just want to encourage people, if you haven't already entered and you're shy about, maybe you haven't morphed animals and critters before or morphed at all, the Dimension community is so supportive. Just give it a try. It can only be fun.
Yes, and the Christmas tree decorating contest just ended on the 1st, didn't it?
Yes, it did end, but I haven't seen the winner posted on there.
I think I got 3rd place.
Okay. And I think
Let me take a look.
And I do believe
Oh,
that
if you
Kaylin,
know, go ahead.
I believe Kaylin at Zavio won one of the prizes.
She did mention thanks for the boxes. I saw that post on there, but I didn't remember seeing one specifically listing the winners. I'll go take a peek on there.
Yeah, I got sent some prizes, and I looked at the list, and I gathered that it must have been third place.
Oh, well, wonderful. Congratulations.
Thank you. Well, not many people entered, so
That was a fun contest.
yeah.
And I'm sure our viewers are probably wondering why I'm running around an empty pus swamp, and that has to do with the first dimension on today's tour. Several months ago, there was another contest for transformations, and Polly chose this base dimension to try to transform. So let's go ahead and actually go to her dimension right now.
Yay. This is Tranquil Lakes, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
And on Gelidra, there's a player named Aisha that has demos of all the dreamweaving keys. And it's very generous of her to be able to put these up for people. So here we are in Tranquil Lakes. Not much showing of the original dimension. So what made you pick Pus Swamp, Polly?
Well, I wanted to transform a dimension, and I had this key, and I had no idea what to do with it. Because I find the base dimension really, really ugly. So I thought, well, it might be quite a challenge to actually make it a dimension I like to be in.
Boy, it really is a total transformation.
Yeah, I mean, as I was working on it, I kind of realized how much I had to cover up. But I do like the end result.
Yes, the end result is very pretty indeed, and the premise is something like a botanical garden, isn't it?
Yes, actually, that was Sailor from Saviel that inspired me to make it into a botanical garden.
And we have a visitor here, Maliana Torsen.
Yeah, I had that thing, and I didn't quite know what to do with it, but I thought she fit quite well here.
That's a nice touch.
Yeah,
And then, of course, I had to... Sorry, go on.
I was saying that the pustules look like they would be a lot easier to cover up than these brain trees, which are actually pretty cleverly disguised in with other trees.
Yeah, I couldn't completely cover up everything, because that would just make everything way too crowded. So I just tried to camouflage it a bit, and I'll make the eye skip to something else besides the pieces of brain tree sticking out.
Yep, distraction is one of a dimension builder's best friends.
Yeah, that's truly creative.
And I replaced all the water, or I put ponds above the existing water, because the existing water looks kind of like sewage.
Well, the one thing that I do like about the Pus Swamp and Faded Plains both have this, when you put a terrace pond down, it doesn't reflect the sky that's already here. It reflects a normal blue sky with clouds and everything, which is actually kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, it lights up the dimension a lot. I've had a couple of people pointing out that, why are there blue sky reflected in your lakes when there's no blue sky actually in here? Yes. This is my cat,
Aw,
who sadly is no more. So she was a very skittish little thing, and I thought, well, I've put a gravestone for her here because it's nice and peaceful.
That's nice. I always love getting to find out those little tidbits from people's dimensions, little personal things that they reflect.
There's a lot of.
And as you can see, I've used
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
a lot of ivy. If you look up on the cliffs.
Looks
Lots
gorgeous.
and lots.
I was noticing ivy, the terrain paints. I know one thing I always really liked about this dimension was that instead of going for the big waterfalls, it was drip lines.
Yeah, I've got a single waterfall, like real waterfall, but I mean, too many waterfalls can also be a bit too much.
I'm heading around now because I know there's some woodland critters around here somewhere.
Yeah, I'm not a huge animal morpher, so
Oh, there they are. Bunny's munching on a carrot.
yeah.
So cute.
And those are all made from skulls, correct? And animal skulls?
Yes, animal skulls and human skulls.
No.
Those are great.
Get a wide angle here of this whole area coming into the cavity, which is very, very pretty area. And you're using the Autumn Harvest sky projector in here?
Yes, I believe I did. I'm quite fond of that one.
Me too.
There's a whole lot of level 25 guild rewards in your dimensions. Just in this one, there's 2 specimen displays and a twisted cherry tree. However, one of my favorite things in here is the microscope made from the telescopes.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to have a microscope to study the plant life and stuff.
Yes, you do.
Absolutely.
And I know I set the item limit for this contest not really high. I think it was something like 1,500 items.
No, I can't remember.
Yeah, I can't either at this right now. I'd have to look it back up to see. I do like to set
That's
item
what I
limits
remember
online.
too. Yeah, I remember. I seem to remember that same number.
Well, this just goes to show that in not a lot of items, you can do a lot of stuff as long as you manage those items well. Because Swamp's tier 5 limit is only 1,200 anyways. There we got the doctor bag. This cute little lamp made from open scrolls and a fished up candelabra.
In the
Yeah.
chat, Betha said this is a sweet tribute to your fur baby.
I don't get that.
Well, we were up by your little kitty's headstone. So she's
Ah,
thinking it's like a tribute to your little cat.
oh, thank you.
Well, this is a beautiful transformation of a very difficult dimension.
Thank you.
And you enter a lot of contests. In fact, I think you're one of the ones that I know, like, I can count on to enter just about anything. That's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing, and it's not meant to be an insult at all. It's good because it's pretty nerve-wracking as a contest sponsor, you know, especially when you're on your first foray out there. The nervousness of wondering if anyone will enter. So to get someone that I don't know if maybe it's like that competitive streak, but those of us that sponsor, thank you for it.
Yes, I've been right there with this contest that I'm sponsoring now, all nervous about whether anyone would want to enter and so forth. I'm glad to see that we have a nice number of entries so far, and I'm hoping a lot more people will enter.
Okay, so the next one on the list is your dormant core dimension, Polly's Crib. Now, in the order of your dimensions that you've built, is this one of the first or second?
That was the second dimension I ever built, and my very first house.
Wow.
Well, one of the things that I've always loved about dimensions is that you can build whatever you want to, and it doesn't have to be a house. It can be anything that you can dream up.
Yep.
And what a house it is.
It's amazing. And you know, I'm a little bit kind of scared of dormant core. I haven't done one yet. Of course, the entry point makes it a lot easier to do dormant core now, but I think that's pretty spectacular that that's one of your earlier dimensions. This is gorgeous.
Thank you.
Now, do you use toolbox or dimension tools?
Yes, I do. To get things straight and to build things like the lamp we saw
Yes.
in the other
Do you use
dimension.
both? Do you use both of them now, or one? Prefer one?
I actually kind of switch back and forth because if I want to save something and export it, I kind of find it difficult to do that with dimension tools.
Yeah.
I'm admiring this lovely piano here, and that one I believe you got as a set from Colette.
Yes, Colette built it in his dimension, and we agreed that it would look absolutely gorgeous here. And he said,
And it
"Okay, go
does.
ahead, copy it." It was quite a pain to get it here because it's too big for the toolbox. So I had to copy it, I think in 2 or 3 chunks and try and put it together again.
Well, it looks like it turned out okay. It's a gorgeous musical instrument.
Yeah, it's like 300 items or something completely silly.
You've positioned your house so you have just incredible views of this dimension.
Yeah, I actually built the bathroom in the house first, so everything is built around that.
Ah.
And I placed it here to use the water that is below us.
Well, we have a lovely pool down here. And the bathroom.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gorgeous in there.
I wish my house was big enough to have this tub in it.
Oh, this
I'd be
bathroom
very
is
happy to
almost
live
the
here.
size of my apartment.
And another thing that I really liked about this dimension is that it's built using actual building blocks instead of all the modular pieces. Oh, look, little weights.
And one of the lovely features that I remember from this dimension is this secret garden kind of under the house.
Yeah, Polly just showed me the hidden areas last weekend. And we'll see if I
I
can
love
find them
that
again.
when you include things for the explorers. Some of us really like to explore every nook and cranny.
Oh yeah, fiendish. The stairs are very pretty, but they're not nice to walk on.
Yeah, but they run up okay. Ah, here's the first hidden area. Back behind a bookcase. The rooftop observatory.
This is great up here, and I love these secret areas.
Yeah, I've always been interested in stars and planets and stuff. Always wanted my own telescope, but
Well, we can have anything we want in this world
indeed.
if we can make it.
And Fiendish, you mentioned using building blocks for the house.
Yes.
Yeah, because I have been looking at other people's houses, and I found most of them to be very rustic looking and sort of cramped. And I wanted to make something that looked more modern.
This limestone does look very sleek and modern, I think.
Yeah. And then I wanted it to be very spacious as well.
Well, with the open floor plan, you've definitely achieved that.
And one of the things I like so much about this open space when you use the limestone and you have kind of different elevations is the light just bounces off each one kind of differently. I think it's such a pretty effect.
Yeah, I've always found it a bit weird that the ceilings go green.
Yeah, I don't get that about Dormant Core or Zarnos Beach. I guess it's some kind of way that the limestone reflects either the light or something in here. It's a good effect, though. I mean, it adds a contrast to the white of the limestone floor. I'm going to take the quick way down
Polly,
the stairs.
Polly, do you build in public dimensions?
What do you mean?
Do you have them open or closed while you're building?
I usually have them closed while building.
I'm just curious.
Ah. But I don't mind inviting people to see them. But I just don't want them to be like open to the public, because then people come in and they're like, oh, what's this? And have a house or something. And well, some people just don't get that you're about to build something and you're not done yet.
Yeah. Well, we're very different. Fiendish builds, I think almost all of hers totally open, and I'm pretty much keep it closed till it's finished. So everybody's different. I just wondered what you were.
I almost lost the second hidden area again.
Oh, I love this one.
Gorgeous underground garden.
Yes, spectacular.
Thanks again.
Yeah, my second dimension didn't look anything like this either. It barely looked better than the first dimension.
Mine didn't look too great, my second dimension.
I'm sure that's not true.
There's a twisted cherry tree. If you can find those on your local auction house, they might be worth the investment. Or if you're in a level
Yeah, they're
25
so
guild.
pretty.
Oh, one of the prettiest trees.
Yeah, I'm in a very nice guild that gives me stuff like that.
Well, that's great. I'm in that guild too.
Yes, you are.
Super friendly and supportive people.
Yes, indeed.
And both at the Ember
Fiendish,
Isle.
you're so polite.
I
Doing
am.
the touring walk. You're doing the touring walk. I wonder how many people tour dimensions this way.
I tour it this
I've
way for
had
the
a few
stream.
visitors.
Yeah, I see some people come in my dimensions and they do it in, just when they're doing a regular tour too. I'm just curious. I'm way too attention deficit disorder or whatever to hold still that long, but it is polite.
I'm okay with people running. It's more mounted people that.
Yes. Totally agree.
Yeah, that's one of my own huge pet peeves.
Me too.
And the Ember Isle dimensions are also pretty. This is such a beautiful in-game zone. I kind of wish there were more dimensions located here.
Yeah, it is one of my favorite areas as well.
Okay, so the next dimension that we were going to look at is actually on your alt Epiphany.
Yes.
I think I said that right.
Is this Willow Shade Cottage?
Yes,
Yes.
Yep. And this one was another contest entry. For I believe it was Cozy Cottages. We ran that at the end of 2013.
Yes.
It's an amazing one. I love it.
And I remember the rules of this one was specifically no modular pieces as part of the structure. It was all, you could use your doors and windows and whatnot as interior decoration or to make furniture with, but not as part of the house itself. And here we've got some haystacks making a thatched roof, along with grass and ivy and all kinds of stuff. How many pieces just went into the roof?
Oh, I don't remember, but it was a lot of haystacks. An awful lot of haystacks.
It came out gorgeous.
Thank you.
Little pumpkin patch and garden over here. And it looks like somebody has a birthday.
Yes, I love this
Yes.
birthday party.
Well, I wanted to, because it was for Cozy Cottages, I wanted it to be cozy and filled with all the nice things I could think of.
And moonshade pools is such a pretty base dimension as well.
Oh, one of my favorites. There's a lot of pretty wall art in here too.
Yes, there is.
That's one of the things I just love.
And stuff like wall art is not, it doesn't have to be hard or complicated. Just like this painting that I'm looking at right now, these are some ground covers and dry sprigs and pieces of grass and, just stuff that minions are probably bringing back in droves right now.
Yeah, I mean, I basically I wanted to have something on the walls. And you just start looking at items that can either go very tiny or very flat.
Right?
And then you
But
start
you
combining.
You created such a pretty scene that's perfect for this setting.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, and definitely a place with some life in it. We got kids pictures hanging on the wall.
Yeah, I love that. And of course there's the kid's bedroom in here, so you get some hints about who lives here.
Yeah, and the stool and the mess in the kitchen.
These are my favorite details when people have messes, clutter, broken things, closed off doors, all those kind of odd things. I just love those.
I'm in the bathroom right now, where some blue curtains have been twisted so that they're in the walls properly, like a hand towel. And if you've completed the High Law Brewing artifact set, this rug piece here on the floor is, what is it, Polly? Is it the wine barrel?
It's the tree cake.
Okay.
Yeah, that's another thing with dimension items. You can actually come up with a lot of fun stuff if you start turning stuff on its head and looking at it from different angles.
Yes, if you're maybe not sure about dimensions, or you've just started or something, I fully agree with that. The best way to learn about it is to put some hands on it and twist them and turn them and just play with them and see what you can come up with. Because some of the best stuff that you can make is often created by accident.
That's so true. And scaling. Love the sewing machine.
Yes.
Yeah, that's another of the kosher things I mentioned. I remember when I was a child, my mother sewed a lot, so I had to have one of those.
And here we are in the kids' room.
So cute.
Got bunk beds, the toys. And not everything is nice and neat and pretty and perfectly decorated. There's some clutter going on here, and I like that little bit of detail.
Me too. Looks lived in.
Yeah, that was kind of what I was going for. I don't use much clutter in any of my dimensions, though. But it's like we can't put people in them. So you kind of have to just put like traces of people in them instead.
Yeah, well, there's more people, but I don't know.
It's so hard
Yeah,
to
it's
do
not-
many of them in one dimension, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this is definitely a cozy cottage.
Undoubtedly.
And you also like to do a lot of food morphing as well. Is that correct, Polly?
Well, I didn't until I also get inspired by contests. And there was this food morphing contest, and I hadn't actually morphed any food before. Well, I did the Tide Sack chicken, but that was about it. And then I started building stuff, and then I became quite passionate about it.
Yes, and that's going to tie us into our next dimension, which is a Dolcega Valley called Cake Party.
Oh, another great one.
Oh boy. Cakes galore, sweets, desserts, and this the cornucopia here, which I believe was from the one contest. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Looks like it got some changes done to it. We've got the spider melon here, some decorative sweet berries, pumpkins, and skulls.
Love that cornucopia.
Yeah, I'm quite fond of it myself, so I kind of had to have it here as well.
Pardon me, I'm short and I have to jump up on the table in order to see.
Oh. That cornucopia was actually kind of an accident. I had bought a lot of these broad and forers, and I was stacking them. And then I suddenly got the idea of kind of twisting them around, and all of a sudden, oh my god, that's a cornucopia!
I love that. That's just like Fiendish was just saying, that's how so many morphs happen. It's just kind of by accident or by manipulating items in different ways. That's great. Ooh, all these things look so delicious.
Yeah, and a lot of the cake foundations are urns turned upside down. So, I mean, they're,
Yeah.
except for the sourdough breads here. And these cheese wheels definitely make a great tiered cake.
And a delicious bonbon that's actually the handle of a sword.
But then more than just food here, there's also this puppet show.
So adorable.
And then the center point, and I'm going to run for this. Is this gorgeous gazebo.
Oh, it's just spectacular.
Thank you. And that is, of course, made with dimension tools or toolbox.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't even attempt to do anything like this by hand.
So Polly, that big spread we were just looking at apparently made people hungry and they've gone to get snacks.
Oh! And I also made fish in the water. Some people missed them. I don't know if you saw them.
Yep, the big red and gold carp down here.
Yeah,
Yes.
they're really great. They have gorgeous, elaborate fan tails and everything. Beautiful.
Yeah, they're not really hard to make. And they're kind of cheap too.
And they have a little bit of movement because you use these
Miniers.
moats. Yeah, menhirs.
I'm RP swimming here.
Pretty fish.
And here's that guy Nico again. He sure gets around.
Yeah, that's the only one of my dimensions where I've actually used him.
I clicked on him to get some drinks and forgot my UI was off, so I can't select him to get the drinks.
Do you want me
No
to click him?
drinking during the live stream.
Speak for yourself.
There you go.
What a great bar in here.
So that was, I think, 4 for me, 1 for Polly, and none for Diva.
Oh, I had one little drink.
And then this part of this dimension, I've always felt that it looked weird. Because it's just kind of a hole. So I fixed it.
Yes, you did. You made a beautiful area over here on the side, too. You're so good with these gardens. They're beautiful.
Thank you.
Yes, they are gorgeous, and luckily for us now, we've got these trophy items that actually match some of the tile work that you find in some of the base dimensions that are located in Storm Legion areas. So that this one facade here blends pretty seamlessly with the walkway that's already in part of Del Checa Valley. Now if we can just get this blue tile.
Oh yeah, that would be nice.
The new rust tiles look pretty good with these these areas at the tops of the stairs.
Yeah, those are one of my my favorite new items out of Nightmare Tide are the rusted metal plates. I wish that they scaled to about the size of normal building blocks.
Yeah, they're a mite small. At their largest, even.
And this is another great dimension, another small dimension from Polynomia at Gelidra. And then we're just about on time. We're going to hit up one that another one that she's done that I really like. It's actually my favorite of all of her dimensions, and that would be Domus.
Thank you.
And this one was inspired by another contest, wasn't it?
It was indeed. Ancient Rome or Greece. And this is ancient Rome.
And what did the words on the steps mean?
It means may no evil enter in Latin. They all had back then that exact phrase or another phrase that meant beware of the dog on their doorstep. And I built the entire house after floor plans of an actual Roman house.
That's so amazing.
Yeah, there's these holes in the ceiling. They had those to collect rainwater. That's what the basin is for at the entrance. And this study in the middle of the house is where the master of the house would sit. And he would have a clear view of the entrance to see who was coming in the house, and a clear view of the garden, because they were very proud of their gardens. and they were kind of the center of the house.
Speaking of this garden, we're going to come out here. Another gorgeous garden here with ground covers. Another twisted cherry tree. And then
Yep, I got me a lot of those.
and then the statue here.
Yes. Sailor gave me that. My good friend Sailor on Savio.
I love that item.
Yeah, she won the contest and she got 2 statues. So she gave me one. Actually, I had been joking with her that if she won the contest, she would have to give me the statue.
Oh,
And I wouldn't have taken it if she only got 1, but then she got 2. So.
Perfect statue for an ancient Roman place. It definitely lends a very Bakken feel.
And well, yeah, you can't really put it many other places. Well, maybe in Hilo, but
And then we have a household shrine here.
yes, the Romans were quite fond of their gods.
And that's a guardian ward stone, isn't it?
Yes, I believe it is. The rest of it is sticking out the back and cleverly disguised with palm trees.
Hooray for palm trees.
And bushes and whatnot.
Evergreen shrubs.
Yeah.
Now, you told me last weekend that there had been a lot of comments because this place was pretty Spartan as far as furnishings go. But that's
Yeah,
historically accurate, isn't it?
Yes, I was reading about because I wanted to know what kind of furniture did they actually have, and they had very little.
But this reproduction bed is very, very nice.
Yeah, that's another product of me playing around with Toolbox.
there's some gorgeous couches over on the other side too. This is actually one of the very first Anywhere Dimensions that I visited, and I remember the couches and the bed and the garden and so many touches.
Yeah, they're also placed very carefully, because it wasn't like now where we just sit on the sofa. You would have the best place in the house reserved for the special or most important guest, and that one would have the very best view of the garden, and the next person would have the next best view of the garden, and the least important person would be lying here with no view of the garden, because they would always lie on their left side when eating for some strange reason. It had to do with digestion or something.
Goodness, you did a tremendous amount of research for this dimension.
Oh yes, it was quite interesting actually. Also, I had comments about the lack of windows on the outside of the house, and they didn't actually have windows on the outside because that would prevented thieves from entering the house. Hence all the open space in the roof to let in light.
Now we're coming through the curtains.
Yes. Now we enter where the slaves were working.
Yeah, I'm in the kitchen right now. You said the stove and the oven here were modeled off of pictures from ruins?
Yes, indeed. I think we were speaking about that, and you had actually seen the exact same pictures.
Yep, here's the big bread oven.
I just love that.
Well, I'm a big fan of any dimension that requires actually looking stuff up. Especially if I tour and then it makes me want to look things up, to see if I can match up the dimension to what it was modeled from. But, I wear my nerd hat proudly.
Yeah, I think this is the dimension I've researched the most for.
Now here we are in the actual slave quarters, and their living conditions were quite a bit separated from the masters of the house.
Oh yes, the masters of the house would never ever come out here, in the kitchen area or anywhere here behind the curtain. And I thought as an extra little touch to kind of emphasize how horrible it was, I put that little bassinet with a little screaming baby in it. I didn't put the actual baby there. You can imagine.
Yes, and slavery was the norm for Romans.
Oh yes.
Big chunks of their economy depended on it. And then I think you said that this little room right here was the only one that you didn't quite know what it was for.
Yes, I was reading about the ruins they had found that was kind of this house, and this area was the only one they didn't actually know what was for. They identified kitchen and other living areas, but this one they had no idea. So I decided that the inhabitants of the house was very nice people that gave money to the poor. That came in here through the back door.
Okay, we're going to run around to the shops and then we'll...
Yes, that's another thing I found that very often. I mean, this is just kind of a small piece of a Roman village. Item count kind of prevented me from making the entire thing. But they would very often, or pretty much always, have shops on the outside.
And the one thing that I always liked when I read about the Romans is their corner food stands. Kind of like the fast food joints that we have now.
Yeah. I think that's kind of been in pretty much every culture, really. Some sort of fast food.
And here we are into the thermae.
Yes, which means bathhouse. Most Romans would not have a bath or toilet in their own house. But because they were actually taxed on the size of water pipes leading into the house. And
here we are in the gymnasium.
Yes, they were very big on exercising. And they would always exercise before hitting the actual bath.
Oh, there's Diva already soaking up the water.
But she hasn't been scraped yet.
And she left the mess in the pit here.
Yeah,
Hey
these
now.
are the toilets. And they would be sitting there right next to each other. And they would be chatting and having meetings and whatnot while sitting there.
And the little cleanup sponge was a communal thing, correct?
Yes. That was, they didn't have toilet paper, so they had a sponge on a stick. And before going into the actual bath, they would lie here and get rubbed in oils by slaves, and that would be scraped off with that tool.
The oiling part sounds alright. I'm not too sure about the scraping though.
Yeah, I don't like the scraping either. I wouldn't mind the oiling part.
And here we are in the actual bath. Now these would be divided up between hot and cold, and in the really large bathhouses you had tepidariums and steam rooms and everything else.
Yes, they had all kinds of different temperatures.
To where the bath ended up being more like an entire day project.
Oh yes, it was not something that you just popped in and did in 15 minutes.
It's fun to have a little history lesson along with a dimension.
You're welcome.
It is. I'm serious.
Yeah, I know that the Greco and Roman styles definitely influence a lot of my dimensions. And this one, I really like this one. Just that it had
Thank
to
you
be
very much.
researched. And I think that pretty much wraps up our time for today. Is that true, Diva? Diva?
Oh, yes. That's right. I was pushing the wrong push-to-talk key.
Wow, time just flew by.
Yeah, amazing how that happens. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you for showing us your wonderful dimensions. We definitely look forward to seeing many more. I believe I counted up that you have 11 completed dimensions so far.
Yeah, and I've got about 3 or 4 that aren't completed yet.
Oh, fun.
So that could definitely give somebody else a whole day project to hop over to Gelidra and check out Polly's dimensions in person, because it's way better to see them in person than through somebody else's computer. And also you have a dimension on Wolfsbane, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
I know one thing I've been seeing a lot of lately is a cross-cluster building, and that's a wonderful thing to see because especially when you start touring around between the EU and NA clusters, you start to see the ways in which our cultures influence what we do and how the differences they make, but also the ways in which everything is the same. I know I greatly enjoy touring on the European shards as much as the North American shards, and I hope that our viewers greatly enjoyed this tour this afternoon.
I certainly did, and I know people out there did too. I would agree with what you say. I have loved being able to go see Dimensions on the European servers as well as my home servers over on North America. So next week we have our 4th Roadshow, and we're going to be focusing on a dimension on Brisasol called Rift Expo, and it was a big collaboration project established by Arwen, and it includes work by Louvanet, Moistia, Nathan A., Axum, Cressley, and Izengis. And I probably butchered some of those names. I apologize.
Now, we got all of them to come on to the roadshow with us. Is that true?
Yep, absolutely right. It's going to be another fun roadshow.
It's going to be a party.
Yep. Thank you
Alright.
so much, Polly.
Oh, thank you. I had great fun.
Thank you so much to everybody in the audience for coming to watch today.
Yes, thank you, and we will see you next week.
See you next week.